Hello everyone, Luke Smith here. Welcome back to another episode of the Quickie Readings. This one's going to be of Bluespike for this Saturday. So let's get on with it. This is kind of a lengthy one. Obviously Bluespike was one of the worst trolls in Chris Clan's life. But not as bad as the Idea Guys and Isabella Gank. So, pro tip, blah 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 blah. You got a quote. I can tell in my heart Julie is 19, and that was Chris on Julie. Bluespike, aka Leon Spike, is a 13-year-old brat with Asperger's syndrome. Did I still call it Asperger's this very day? I thought they just call it autism now. According to Chris, was a young troll who contacted Chris through two identities, a sweetheart named Julie and her evil brother Max. However, more of the trolling has involved Bluespike going under the Julie persona. Playing as Julie, Bluespike had phone sex with Chris for hours each night, listening to Chris masturbating, as Bluespike was in complete control of Chris. He could have done more sinister things, but night after night he engaged in nothing but noisy fabricated on Blue's end, phone sex and listening to Chris jack off very loudly. Draw your own conclusions about his sexuality. Yeah, jacking off to a 13-year-old boy, that's not good at the end of the day. Bluespike's trolling caused Chris to admit to Julie that he had tried using a dildo and anal beads. Yeah, that is pretty gay, even though this was back in the time where Chris was homophobic and he uses like anal beads back in then, so yeah, we kind of known that he was a bit gay down there. Convinced Chris I lost my train of thought there for some reason, I don't know why. Convinced Chris to take a long drive to Ohio in what he saw as an effort to rescue his girlfriend. Produced the infamous sex tape where he fucks Kimmy. Made him describe a future scene from Sonic 9, alluding to his gay fans, and was the impulse for the legendary incident where his father walked in to him with his pants down. He was also responsible for the other sick shit, including coercing Chris into shoving shards of his Sonic medallion up his arse while he watched and mocked him. Yeah, that is pretty fucking sadistic, really. After that, he's essentially being kicked out of the Miscreants and was involved in relatively minor trolling incidents before fading into obscurity. Bluespike's treatment of Chris considered to be sadistic, being emotionally and even sexually abusive, doing the mumble calls where he revealed himself as Julie. His harsh treatment of Chris was unpropelled by any of Chris's past trolls, and would not be matched again until the likes of the Idea Guys got a hold nearly a decade later. Of all the classic trolls, Chris has noted that he hates Bluespike the most for the traumatic experience he caused during the mumble call, along with tricking him into a long road trip that scared his parents half to death. To be honest with you, Chris is right for like thinking that Bluespike is the worst troll of that time, because he fucking was. Bluespike effectively provided a model of that all conventional, controversial trolls follow him and would use, though unlike most that followed, he was actually successful in his goals. Also, unlike many substantial trolls, Bluespike actually expressed regret for his actions years later. I thought, well, at least he has emotions. Information: name David. I bet you that's not his real name. Date of birth 12th of October 96, age 25. That's how old he would be now, I believe. also known as Bluespike, Leon Spike, Julie Mariana, Goulet, and Max Mariana. Gender male, race white, nationality American, occupation internet troll, saga, the Goulet saga, the PSN hacking saga, and calling out sagas. Prologue. This article is let to be completed due to stress. Is missing the following information about the creation of the mumble chats and early interactions. Bluespike was one of a set of full-scale pals created specifically to troll Chris with. That's basically it. I don't think anyone's interested in completing this article really, because it's like an older article. Personas. Goulet. God, I remember that fucking thing. Chris professes his undying love while being screwing a doll. Julie Melvana, born the 13th of July 1989, was a Moldovan medievalist Sonic Youth fan who became Chris's sweetheart after Panda Halo. Julie first appeared in IRC in December 2008, suggesting the infamous tour of Chris's house video. She later posted a ton of Sonic Youth questions submitted by fans and was invited to Sonic Youth Girls. That was a Facebook page, I believe. As early as the 3rd of January 2009, she asked Chris what he would do if a jerk kidnapped his sweetheart, and said, I would learn his demands if any, or if he hurt it, I'd strike the jerk back. Julie also got excited by the prospect of an orgy with Chris and Sonic Youth Girls. The next day, it was revealed that Chris had promised his virginity to both Panda and Julie. Both ladies were furious, and Julie threatened to kill herself. Later, she calmed down and moved to Ohio to live with relatives. Ever classy, Chris suggested a threesome with Panda Halo. Chris refused to drive to Ohio, instead insisting Julie to come to him. He also couldn't be bothered to attack Clyde in IRC, and even when he threatened Julie. When Chris chose Sarah May over her, Julie was crushed. Chris apologised and abruptly went back to talking about video. Clyde Cash made several threats against Julie, forcing Chris to upload a infamous 5th of February 2009 video admitting he was gay. Once Chris got it into his head that Panda Halo was burned to death in a wildfire, he began to focus even more on Julie as a sweetheart. Yeah, like fuck the other one. Fucking move on super quick. Chris received a letter written by Julie, the first physical proof of her existence. In it details the love professed by her to Chris. On Valentine's Day, Chris uploaded a LBP group level, and Chris and Julie brought their relationship to the next level with cyber sex, in other words, phone sex. Bob Chandler walked in, and the rest is history. Chris's parents doesn't believe that Julie was too honest. Well, of course she wasn't. She's been played by a 13-year-old boy. In an infamous video on the 20th of February 2009, Chris created a sex video for Julie with the help of his inflatable assistant Kimmy. In order to give Julie an idea on what their first time together would be like, Chris's tender and passionate cries of Goulet provided one of the most striking and memorable of CWCisms to this date. Many erroneously believe that Kimmy is Julie. This is not so. Chris may be the most desperate man alive, but he is not getting to the point where he is convinced that any of his dolls are real. A set of postcards showing the act was sent to 14 Bankland Court. Bob got hold of his postcards, which prompted him to take Chris's PlayStation away. It's good. Max Miladova was the abusive brother of Julie. Max's persona was typically used for instances where Julie was in peril, or when Bluespike wanted to engage in tormenting Chris directly. Max and Clyde Cash would convince Chris that he kidnapped Julie at the miscreant headquarters in Cleveland, Ohio, and is planning to send her over to China. Her kidnap by her brother led to Chris's ill-fated rescue mission to Cleveland. In response, Chris valiantly travelled all the way to Ohio, which is fucking dedication right there if it was real, in a bid to rescue her, and his parents got worried. His ancestors' spirits has wished him a safe trip to Ohio 2 days prior to Aunt Karina's funeral. Unfortunately, because Chris got the wrong address, he ended up at a rundown house in the ghetto that was inhabited by an elderly black woman. Yeah, that's the thing with Chris, he doesn't follow directions very well. Under the Max persona, Bluespike hacked into Chris's Yahoo and PSN accounts, threatening Chris that he would either take Julie away or sell both the accounts on eBay. He goaded Chris into doing various embarrassing things in order to get his accounts back, ranging from raging and stating that he is a homo, to declaring Billy Mays is the new mayor of Quickville. As with the Julie persona, Chris also engaged with sexual acts, including the Max persona. In one instance, Chris claimed that he would show Max his penis as per request. Did he know that he was a 13-year-old boy then? Okay, probably beforehand. However, Max also claimed that he had no interest in seeing Chris's penis. Thank God for that, because he'd have to bleach his eyes. In the next video, Max tried to tempt Chris into showing his penis to him after telling him that he doesn't have one, only to then frantically reject this when Chris actually attempts it. He also suggested to Chris in the same video that Chris ejaculate on the medallion if he ever wanted to see Julie again. On that fateful day, Max, power mad over Chris, caused a schism between trolls who have followed Chris up to this point. Yeah, he's a fucking nutjob, to be fair. I really hope that he's grown up sensible and like got a proper job and like got a proper girlfriend and got a proper family together, because it's a pretty scummy thing to do to an autistic person. Yeah, it's Chris, but come on, even for Chris Clan, don't fucking do it to him. Don't do it to anyone. Also, yeah, I believe that he was an actual 13-year-old boy as well, which that was 2009. God, he must be like well in his 20s by now. Julie reveals herself. Bluespike, stop this shit. Troll's reaction to Bluespike prompting Chris into shoving pieces of his medallion up his arse. Yeah, that was the last straw, really. On the 3rd of March 2009, Max gained control of Chris's PlayStation Network account, and during the hour-long audio session, threatened to sell the PSN accounts and forbid Julie from seeing Chris. Chris was cohorted into declaring Billy Mays to be the new mayor of Quickville and shoving the pieces of his destroyed Solitude medallion up his anal cavity. Really? Why would you say anal cavity? Just say arse. It makes it gets more to the point. Before he was able to talk to Julie, and at which point Julie admits that both she and Max were figments of Bluespike's imagination. At no point did Bluespike ever mention the sex tape, which has already gotten 2 million hits on Slutload. Yeah, I bet you that site doesn't exist anymore. Bluespike's female voice is an unconvincing falsetto, which makes it all the more surprising that it worked so well on Chris. This incident shattered both his heart level and his anus to zero. Yeah, we will not be watching that, mainly because that's the reveal video, so yeah, everyone's seen that, so I won't be reacting to that. Reaction. On the 5th of March 2009, an all-out civil war broke out between the trolls of the Chris Clan ED discussion page on whenever Bluespike had gone too far, which he did. Whenever it was a hypocrite, or if he was merely a tool indicated by Clyde Cash to ruse Chris into the further milking of lols. Suffice to say, a combination of outrage and troll remorse turned the whole event into a clusterfuck. Oh, I guess really tired. Got a long quote here. If Bluespike is really 13 years old, then we know who the real child molesters are. Hey, one of the cool kids. Help this autistic jack off pretend to be a girl so we can videotape and record it. That's the real reason you were shitting it and calling for a 30-minute silence just after, Clyde. At least you had the balls to say that it was you responsible. If Bluespike is really 13, then you groomed a child to perform sexual acts on a mentally retarded man for your pleasure. You are fucked, son. You both broke a lolcow, but there's better sport now, ruining your lives. And don't act like you don't care. I saw you shitting yourself all that night, and the next sending waves of members out to kill threads about it or put false names, just like your sock earlier in the page, ready to have a seat over there, and that was wit ED user. That is true. I mean, if Clyde Cash really took him on and told Bluespike to tell Chris these things, then that's child grooming, and that shit's illegal. I don't think anything bad happened after that with Clyde Cash. I think all the original trolls were in their separate ways and no action was taken, but yeah, technically that's child grooming. Even as Julie reveals herself was being recorded, other trolls can be heard remarking it was horrible and demanding Bluespike to stop. Early on Mumble 11, which was recorded a day later, other trolls outright tell Bluespike to shut up and nobody likes him before he gets muted. Impact on Chris. While one might think of this level of physical and mental abuse would have lasting scars, Bluespike's trolling intensely appeared to have virtually no evident long impact on Chris. Just a few weeks after Julie revealed her true identity, Chris has moved on to thinking he'd found another sweetheart online, and just a few weeks after that he had no trouble believing he was having virtual sex with a famous Disney Channel celebrity. Yeah, he moves on quick. I don't think he'd fucking remember Bluespike about a day after. The main effect it had was, although Chris made a new Sonically medallion, he has stopped wearing it until July 1st, 2009. However, years later, Chris stated that Bluespike's psychological and sexual abuse of him was in the top 2 most traumatic experiences of his life. The other contender being the incident at Nathaniel Greene Elementary School, where he was pinned down by faculty during a autistic meltdown. Since Chris hasn't provided details of how he felt after the humiliating experiences, figuring out how this affected him left up to speculation. is left up to speculation. He also sounded reluctant to talk about the incident during the Calling Out Goulet David, a video where he attempts to dox locale David Harlow of being Bluespike due to trolls feeding him misinformation. And during the Bravely Gurk interviews, he was shocked when Bravely Gurk brings up the incident. Chris came to believe that Bluespike was killed at the hands of Clyde Cash from an offhand comment by Cash on Mumble 12. On this version of the ED page, Chris stated that the little SOB later died at the hands of Starscream troll Clyde Cash. Of course, this statement was later revealed to be a complete and utter falsehood. Nonetheless, after 8 years, even 8 years after the events of August 23rd, 2011, Chris still believes that Bluespike is dead, when he is not, and he is probably living a better life than he is now. Prank calls, again, another article that hasn't been completed yet, mainly because they want information about the prank calls, which there's not a lot out there really. I don't think there's still enough information. Even after tormenting Chris for several hours and being kicked out of his clique of trolls, as a result, Bluespike continued contact with Chris, acting as the original Ween. Calling Out. This is the Calling Out saga, I'm guessing. On the 23rd of August 2011, Chris claimed to know Bluespike's real identity, first name David, and threatened to drop docs on him unless he made an apology video by the 15th of September 2011. In the video, Bluespike was to tell people to stop calling Chris Ian Baden Anderson and yelling Goulet in prank calls. Although Bluespike didn't respond to Chris's demands, the death of Bob 2 weeks later caused Chris to leave the internet before he could reveal Bluespike's personal information. He wouldn't have done it anyway. It would have been like false information he would have been fed. And he ultimately lost interest in exposing his tormentor. Okay. Even if Chris did make a video on who Bluespike really was, it would have been for naught. The personal information that Chris had actually belonged to David Harlow, a locale also known as Neshelper. This was evident by Neshelper and Bluespike apparently sharing the first name. A real photo of Bluespike being a close-up of the picture of Neshelper, and Chris claimed Bluespike liking big rooms. That's no fair, I like big rooms. Which references a video rant where Neshelper complained about the size of his hotel room he was staying in. Aside from not being a troll and having any reason nor motivation to go after Chris, the fact that Neshelper sounds nothing like Bluespike in his videos makes it clear that they are not the same person. Furthermore, Neshelper was born on the 9th of July 1985. Therefore, he would have been 21 years old during the Judy saga. Chris was presumably given false information to highlight his gullibility and possible setup of a feud between him and his helper, similar to how Alavia, that name Vaughan Howell, and Christopher Paul Whitney made negative remarks about Chris after he accused them of being Jack Thaddeus and Alec Benson Leary, respectively. Of course, the aforementioned death of Bob prevented the conflict between the two from occurring. Regardless, it's likely Neshelper wasn't even aware of Chris's misguided attempt to dox him. Yeah, he probably didn't even fucking know about the video. He probably doesn't even know who Chris was. Today, Bluespike is easily one of the most popularizing trolls in history, competing with the Idea Guys and Bella. Most trolls tend to frown on Bluespike and his methods, as they echo those of Weens, Enablers and A-Logs. Nevertheless, some arenas still refuse to return to their sadistic ways. Still yearn to return to their sadistic ways of Bluespike, in hopes, in an age of trolling where physical pain is inflicted upon Chris. In 2009, Bluespike has come of age and matured. Now he has a profile on the Kiwi Farms, which has been given the historic figure verification by forum members. When asked to reflect upon his time trolling Chris, he wrote, There's been tons of things in my life I've regretted and hated doing later on. All the stuff from 10 years ago was one of them. I have moved past everything that happened those many years ago, and obviously I'm a different person now. It wasn't funny, and it was an A-log thing to do. Nothing else I can say. In August 2017, on 28th, Bluespike responded to a question on the Kiwi Farms account, asking if given the opportunity would he do it again. He responded, "Probably not. If I would, I'd try to do something similar to Liquid Chris, not trying to ruin his life and just have fun with him." Well, it should have been that from the fucking start. Even with the passing of the idea, guys, and Jacob's softness, Bluespike remains to be Chris's least favourite trolls. False accusations. With Bluespike's identity still remaining a secret, it's natural people would try and find out who's behind the persona. This has nevertheless resulted in some people being improperly tagged to be Bluespike. A handful of people has speculated that Bluespike may be Reimu, a YouTube pooper and concert archivist. As a kid in 2009 and 2010, made A-loggy rants towards Chris. These claims are bullshit and based based entirely on rumours from Reddit and old comments in his videos and on image boards. Reimu was 11 in 2009, thus making it impossible for him to be Bluespike. Something confirmed in both a video he'd later make debunking the rumours, and by a Thomas the Tank Engine gag dub he made in 2011, stated his then age 13. In the title, while the two did have similar voices at the time, pubescent boys tend to have similar sounded voices in general, and Reimu had different speech patterns and inflections in his. Furthermore, Reimu had no sort of involvement in trolling Chris outside of making the said rants and lurking his ED page. See also the chats, all this stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that was basically it for this reading. Almost 30 minutes, not bad for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. We've got one more reading to do next Saturday, and then that'll be it for this month. Tomorrow I'll have a weekly recap of what I've done and anything that's been happening in the world tomorrow, and I'll be setting out a schedule for next week's video. So until then, see you guys.